The stars above glimmered cold and distant as Rian's ship was pulled into the Varkai's massive orbiting fortress. He had heard stories about this alien warrior tribe, fierce, proud, and deadly. No human had ever set foot inside their arena and lived to tell the tale. Yet, here he was, captured not by mistake, but because the council wanted him to witness the power of the Varkai firsthand. Rian's heart pounded as he was dragged across the cold metallic floor. The Varkai warriors towered over him, muscles coiled like spring traps beneath their glowing armor. Their eyes were sharp, intelligent, and cold. Finally, they stopped. Before him stood the arena, a circular space surrounded by stone walls and hovering observation platforms. Thousands of Varkai watched from above. The air vibrated with tension. And at the center of the arena, she stood. Seriska. The alien warrior princess was unlike anything Rian had imagined. Her armor shimmered like liquid night, her blue markings glowed faintly along her arms and chest. Her eyes were sharp, dangerous, yet strangely intelligent. Her lips parted slightly as she spoke, her voice carrying over the arena like steel over stone. Human. Touch me, kiss me, and you die. The crowd of Varkai erupted into laughter, a sound like grinding metal. But Rian's eyes did not leave hers. There was something in her gaze, a flicker of fear, hidden behind the mask of confidence. The Varkai leader, a massive figure covered in silver plates, stepped forward. This human has been chosen for the bond test, he boomed. If he fails, he dies. If he survives, he may become your chosen, Seriska. Rian swallowed hard. He didn't even fully understand what the bond test was, but the stakes were clear. One misstep, and he would be nothing more than a corpse on the arena floor. Seriska shifted her weight, her glowing markings pulsing slightly. Step forward, human, she said. Her voice was calm but carried an undercurrent of warning that made the hair on Rian's neck stand on end. He obeyed, each step echoing in the silent arena. The closer he got, the more he noticed the small signs, scars along her arm, a slight hesitation in her movements, a hand trembling just a little beneath her gauntlet. She was hiding something, and it terrified him. The Varkai leader raised a clawed hand. Begin. The test was simple in theory, a human must show courage, understanding, and trust under extreme pressure. And now, it was Rian's turn. Seriska circled him like a predator, her eyes studying him, judging him. Every instinct told him to be careful, but curiosity, and something else he didn't yet understand, pulled him closer. Human, Seriska said, stopping directly in front of him. Do you understand the risk? Rian nodded, his throat dry. I understand. Her eyes narrowed. Then step closer. Show me your heart. The words made Rian hesitate. He had faced countless dangers on missions, but nothing like this. Nothing had ever required this kind of trust. And yet, despite the fear, he took another step forward. The arena seemed to hold its breath. Seriska's blue markings glowed brighter, the light bathing Rian in an otherworldly aura. He felt a pull, magnetic, almost alive. Something inside him reacted to her presence, and he had no idea why. You are brave, she said quietly, almost to herself. Or foolish. Perhaps both. The Varkai warriors tensed, ready to strike. But Seriska raised her hand, and they froze. Even the leader watched silently, intrigued. Rian noticed for the first time the faint shimmer in the air around her, a strange energy, like the heat haze of a desert but alive. What is that? He whispered under his breath. Seriska's eyes flicked to him, and for a moment, her guard dropped. It is my blood, she admitted, her voice a whisper only he could hear. Star blood. Dangerous. Uncontrolled. Before he could respond, the arena shifted. The ground trembled slightly as the Varkai leader spoke again. This is not just a test of courage. It is a test of destiny. The one who survives may change the fate of the Varkai, and perhaps even the galaxy. Rian's heart pounded. Change the galaxy? He was just a human. How could he possibly affect the fate of an entire alien warrior race? Seriska's eyes locked onto his. Last warning, human, she said, her voice low, dangerous. If you cross this line, if you kiss me, your life ends here. He froze. His mind screamed at him to step back, to obey the warning. And yet, his instincts, something primal, human, and reckless, urged him forward. Something inside him told him that this was not just a challenge. This was a moment that could never be repeated. Step by step, he closed the distance between them. The energy around her seemed to intensify, reacting to his presence. Every eye in the arena followed him. Every heartbeat sounded louder. When he was only inches away, Sariska's eyes widened slightly. The crowd hushed. Even the leader leaned forward, curious to see the outcome. Rian lifted his hand, trembling, and touched her face lightly. She flinched but did not pull away. The tension in the air was unbearable. Then he moved closer, drawn by something beyond fear or reason. Human, she whispered. If you. But he didn't stop. His lips hovered over hers. The arena waited. The stars outside the fortress gleamed, distant and indifferent, as if watching the human and the alien poised on the edge of destiny. And then, Rian closed the last few inches. The arena shook with silence. Every eye in the Varkai fortress followed Rian and Sariska, frozen in the moment before the impossible happened. Rian's lips hovered over hers, and Sariska's glowing markings pulsed brighter than ever, like lightning under her skin. It was more than a kiss, it was a challenge, a risk that could end his life in an instant. Then, he closed the distance. The world seemed to explode. Light erupted from Sariska's body, blue and gold, swirling around them like a storm of energy. Rian felt a force shove him backward, yet he did not fall. The air around them vibrated with power, something ancient, fierce, and alive. The Varkai gasped. The leaders staggered. None had ever seen this before. Sariska froze, her eyes wide with shock. It shouldn't have happened, she whispered, her voice trembling. Humans cannot survive this. You should be dead. Rian's chest heaved. He was alive. Somehow, he was alive. But something inside him had changed too. A strange warmth coursed through his veins, a pull toward her that was more than attraction, it was a connection, a bond that neither of them fully understood. The Varkai warriors tensed, their claws gripping their weapons. Starblood, the leader muttered. It has awakened, in her and in him. Sariska's gaze softened, but only slightly. You are different, human. Somehow compatible. This is dangerous for both of us. Before Rian could respond, alarms blared across the fortress. Outside the arena, massive warships approached, faster than anything Rian had ever seen. The rival alien empire, the Kalari, had detected the bond awakening and now sought to destroy it before it could grow stronger. Sariska grabbed his arm. We must move. Now. Rian followed without hesitation. The corridors of the fortress were vast, twisting, and dark. Alarms flashed red. The Varkai warriors tried to intercept them, but Sariska's newfound power was unstoppable. Energy crackled around her fists and armor as she blasted open doors and sent enemies flying like ragdolls. Rian realized something amazing and terrifying about the kiss. A small part of her power flowed into him. He could feel it, raw and wild, thrumming through his body. He hadn't been granted superhuman strength, but he could sense danger, react faster, and survive blows that would have killed him before. This bond, Sariska muttered, her glowing markings reflecting in his eyes. It's ancient. Dangerous. If it grows, our lives will be linked. What do you mean? Rian asked, ducking as a plasma bolt whizzed past. If one of us dies in battle, she said grimly, the other dies too. And if it awakens fully, the universe may take notice. Rian swallowed hard. He had never been more aware of his own mortality. But fear did not stop him. Something in him had changed. He wasn't just a human now, he was part of something bigger, something alive, something beyond understanding. They reached a high platform overlooking the fortress hangar. Dozens of enemy ships descended, weapons primed. Seriska looked at Rian, her face serious. "Are you ready?" Rian nodded, gripping a plasma pistol she handed him. "I didn't come this far to die now." Seriska smiled faintly, just enough to show the corner of her lips. "Then fight with me, human. Not as my prisoner, but as my partner." The first Kalari ship fired. Seriska raised her arms, energy flaring in waves that deflected the attack. Rian followed instinctively, using the small part of her star blood flowing in him to target and disable enemy weapons. They moved together, instinctively, like they had trained for centuries. Every pulse of her energy through him made his heart race. Every glance from her told him that trust was growing, slowly, dangerously, beautifully. Then came the warning blast. A massive Kalari warship prepared to fire a planet-killer weapon. One shot, and the fortress and Rian and Seriska would be nothing more than dust. Seriska grabbed his hand tightly. "This is it, human. One wrong move." Rian looked into her eyes, starlight reflecting off her glowing markings. "Then we do it together." The bond between them pulsed in that instant, as if the universe itself recognized their connection. It was no longer just a kiss. It was the beginning of something unstoppable. The enemy ship fired. The energy wave hurtled toward them. Rian felt it in his bones, the star blood reacting, pulling him and Seriska together. She whispered, "Hold on, human." And then, side by side, they leapt into the storm. The sky above the Varkai fortress burned red. Enemy warships filled the heavens, their weapons charging, ready to turn the planet below into a crater. Rian and Seriska stood at the edge of the hangar, their hands still linked. The bond between them pulsed like a living heartbeat, stronger with every second. "This is it," Seriska said, her voice low but steady. "We either stop them now, or we die trying." Rian swallowed, feeling the star blood energy humming through him. He wasn't just a human anymore. He was part of something vast, powerful, and dangerous, and he trusted Seriska with his life. The Kalari ships opened fire. Plasma bolts tore through the hangar roof, sending chunks of metal and fire raining down around them. Seriska stepped forward, her arms glowing like molten stars. Energy arcs crackled across her body, deflecting blasts and sending attackers flying. Rian followed, using a combination of his human tech and the energy flowing through him to disable weapons and shields. Every movement felt instinctive, as if he and Seriska shared the same mind. Together, they became a force no enemy had ever seen. "You're incredible," Rian shouted over the chaos. I can feel your power in me." Seriska's eyes met his, glowing brighter. "And I can feel yours. Do not falter, human. One slip, one doubt." The enemy flagship fired the planet killer. A beam of white-hot energy raced toward the planet, and Rian felt the pull of gravity, the heat, and the fear all at once. But the star blood inside him reacted. He raised his hands instinctively, and energy shot from him toward Seriska, linking with hers in a brilliant arc of light. Together, they redirected the weapon's beam into space, obliterating it in a blinding explosion. The Kalari faltered, shocked. No human or Varkai had ever survived a direct planet-killer blast. Rian and Seriska didn't pause. They dove into the enemy forces, moving as one. Seriska's starblood powers tore through their ranks, while Rian's quick thinking and human ingenuity turned enemy tactics against them. Every moment heightened their connection. Every battle move strengthened the bond. Amid the chaos, Seriska suddenly froze. Her energy flared wildly, a signal of danger. Rian noticed instantly. "What is it?" he shouted. "A trap," she said, her voice sharp. "They want me, only me. If they capture me, you'll die." Without hesitation, Rian stepped in front of her, letting a blast hit him squarely. Pain shot through his body, but he stayed on his feet. "We're in this together," he said, gritting his teeth. Seriska's face softened, a rare moment of vulnerability. "Human, you are more than I imagined. Stronger than most warriors I've known. But this is only the beginning." The Kalari flagship descended to the planet, deploying massive ground forces. Sariska's blue and gold markings flared across her body, illuminating the battlefield. Rian realized then that the bond wasn't just power, it was trust, courage, and connection. Together, they became a symbol of what humanity could achieve. Finally, they reached the enemy commander, a massive Kalari warlord. Energy clashed as Sariska unleashed her full Starblood power, and Rian combined his quick thinking with her energy to create a devastating attack. The warlord screamed as they obliterated him, ending the battle with a brilliant explosion of light. When the dust settled, Rian and Sariska stood side by side. The fortress was damaged, the enemy scattered, but they were alive. Sariska looked at Rian, her glowing eyes soft now, reflecting trust and something deeper. "You were supposed to die from my kiss," she whispered, almost shyly. Rian smiled, brushing a hand against hers. Guess the universe had other plans. The Varkai warriors cheered, surrounding them. Even the leader approached, nodding in approval. The human has proven worthy. Not just brave, but extraordinary. Sariska turned back to Rian, holding his hand tightly. "From now on, human, we fight together. Our bond is more than power. It is destiny." Rian nodded, feeling the weight of the words and the thrill of the adventure. "Then let's show the galaxy what humans, and Varkai together, can do." Above them, the stars glittered cold and distant, watching as a human and an alien warrior stood united. The impossible had happened. The bond had awakened. And the universe would never be the same.